Checking connection. 1, 2, 3. I think I need an intro because this is stupid. I just kept going. Right, here we are, Insta Live. We have an amazing woman on tonight, which is super cool. Hey Logan, how you doing, man? Yeah, so we'll just wait for Becci to jump on. Yeah, she is a badass downhill mountain biker who is a super interesting girl. So we are going to have a chat to her. So happy days. If you've got any questions for her, fire them away and I'll try and deal with those at the end. She's never done this live before, so we'll see if we can get her on anytime soon. Until then, how are you doing, people? The weather's clapped out here in Yorkshire, which is a bit of a shame. There's still no games this year, so we're having a beer, as you do. Oh, here we go. She's just popped on. Let's have a look here. Go live.
Waiting for the call. Do 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 do. Yes. Super cool, mate. Welcome along. Welcome along to Insta Live, everyone. This is Becci. How you doing, mate? You all right?
All right, thank you. Yeah, you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, mate. I'm very well. Today, actually, funny enough, today, Adam and I should have been racing in Belgium for the Time Trial World Championships today. And instead, I've ridden a TT on Zwift, and it was absolutely dreadful. So I'm quite pleased we're not racing. So anyway, bit of an intro for you, but most people know who you are because you're super famous on Insta. So Becci is a personal trainer, self-confessed dog botherer. And I was gonna say, yeah, you jumped in the dog's bed to do this Insta, and you are a downhill slayer, which is super badass, and that's what we're going to chat about tonight, along with a few other things. Mm-hmm. So, my dear, kick it off and explain to people what the hell downhill mountain biking is. Most people know. Give us a kind of, for someone who's never heard of it. What the hell is it?
Like, you normally, when you tell people that don't know what downhill mountain biking is, they just think, you just ride down a hill. That's a piece of piss, mate. And I'm like, well, it's a little bit more technical. So, downhill mountain bike, the actual race is A to B. So you start at the top of the hill, down to the bottom of the hill. Timed race. So you're by yourself, completely by yourself. Beep, 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 boop, off you go. There's set course, so you there'll be jumps, berms, corners, rock gardens, drops, horrible, gnarly, scary stuff, and then it's just a timed run to the bottom, and then obviously your time goes up against the other people that you're competing against. You usually start off at 30-second intervals. So generally you don't meet anybody on track, but it happens.
Absolutely. So basically we're talking time trial. It's what me and Adam do. It's no big deal. I don't know what all this fuss is about. So are there certain things you're likely to encounter? Is there a set, for instance, cyclocross racing, I don't know what you call it, but they've got to run through a sandpit and jump over things and get off their bike and obstacles and things like that. So is there a kind of set? Does there have to be a rock garden, or does there have to be gnarly tree rides?
No, there's nothing kind of that has to be in there. Just start and finish, I guess. But like I said, the best tracks, I'll have a bit of everything. Like Fort Bill is my favourite track, and that has got absolutely everything there. It's got the gnarly rock gardens, it's got a flat out motorway, big jump section, it's got big drops, wood sections, bit of everything. They're the best tracks for me. But yeah, some tracks won't have any jumps in it, some tracks will just be really flat out, some will just be really technical. So it completely depends where you're racing and what track you're on, really.
Yeah, and do certain parts of the country, does that kind of, is there a place where it's kind of predominantly more rocky or more rocky technical, or more rooty and boggy, or is
Wales is quite boggy for 9 months of the year. But yeah, but then like you get quite a lot of slate over here as well, so it does completely depend like on where you like what track you're on really. Like so at Revolution Bike Park, which is like 10 minutes away from me, it's the same bike park, but one run will be really muddy and boggy and minging, and another one will be hard packed slate rock, and you can just ride that all year round. So it's kind of completely dependent on what track you're on, really.
Yeah, and I guess weather conditions play an awful big partner as well. So one thing that interests me actually about downhill and stuff, because I'm not, like I like watching it because it's mental. Obviously you have practice runs down it.
Yeah.
And I guess from when you start doing practice runs to when you actually race down it, it's almost a completely different course, isn't it? Because everyone's kind of rutted it out with, brake ruts and kind of craziness. So like, how do you kind of manage that?
It's hard. I mean, if you're continuously riding it, you kind of get used to it changing as you go along. So like at just a normal British event, generally it's not going to change too much from the last time you did a practice run to your race run. You've maybe got a couple of hours that it could change. It might get a bit more rutted up or whatever. But for example, so I did Lenzerheide World Cup last year. All the way, you don't get a lot of time to practice at World Cups. You maybe get 2-3 hours one day, 2-3 hours the next day, then you're straight into qualifying. Whereas at UK races, you generally get all of Saturday, so I don't know, 9-10 in the morning through to 5 o'clock, and the majority of Sunday morning to practice. So you can get like 8-10 runs in, then you have your qualifying, then you have your race run. Whereas at World Cups, you get a small amount of time and the track. So you have B group practice in the morning, starts at like 8 o'clock through to 10, 11 o'clock. And then you get A group practice, which are all the fast boys and the fastest girls. So they destroy the course. So then you like an hour the next day to go practice on a course that's completely different to what you've just rode. And if the weather's completely different as well. So like in Lenzerheide, it rained all day practice for us. And then the next day, I think it rained in the morning, so it was super greasy. And then when we actually came to qualifying, it was ruined because of the elites, like the pro guys going down it and bloody doing what they do. And then it was completely dry. So that you don't know how hard you can hit stuff. You don't know if that rock that you slipped off before, whether that's going to hold you or, like stuff like that. So it is. Yeah. It's a lot of risk involved with stuff like that. It's like, shit, how hard can I push this, So yeah, that is like quite a hard aspect to get your head around a little bit. But
yeah, for sure.
With experience as well. Like, I mean, I haven't done many World Cups. I've been racing for like 6 years now, something like that. And it is something that kind of comes with time. It's not something you're just good at automatically. It's a bit of a head game with that one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really interesting you say that, because I wonder if that's kind of like a UCI thing, because when we go to World Cups and World Championships, we generally get like a half a day where the courses, certainly for time trialing, where you can actually, where it's closed roads and it's all buried off and you can go out and hit things full gas. The interesting thing for us is on a tandem is, of course, on the course as well are trikes, hand bikes, all these other dudes that are, that can be a lot slower than you are.
Oh, right.
They're fast in their own right, but, some of these corners you want to hit at sort of 50k an hour, full gas to see if you can get around them without braking and stuff. So yeah, it can be quite exciting going out for a practice run. It's always a bit kind of like, oh, how's this going to go?
Yeah.
So
yeah, all like different bikes and stuff when you were doing it.
Yeah. And it's incredible, like the different adaptions for, disabled riders, riders might be missing arms or legs, and just the adaptation is super cool. And there's generally always someone new who you haven't seen before, so it's pretty interesting time.
Certain regulations for things.
Yeah, so they're categorized. Yeah.
But,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So obviously on a tandem, we're not racing against guys on a solo. But yeah, so there's different categories for levels of disability And then there's hand biking categories. Some people lay down and, pedal like on their backs, like a three-wheeler, kind of almost looks like a Formula One car. They're amazing. And then you've got dudes who can, might just be paralyzed from the waist down, so they kneel. And, there are these dudes who are like wedge-shaped. They're like these tiny little waists, and then they just go out sideways. They're massive, huge shoulders, and they just grind the bike around this course. It's mental, and they go mad fast. So there's some really cool stuff, and some of the kit is super trick, like super carbony and all kind of flash stuff. So it's pretty interesting. But
sorry, go on.
No, so I was just going to say, you've been you said that you've been racing now for 6 years. Like, how did you start out in this? How on earth did you decide to hurdle yourself downhill through trees?
I kind of went down the just kind of gentle cross-country route, not racing, just riding XC with my mates from back home. So like North Lincolnshire, the flattest place in the world. And my boy mates were going to Dalby Forest on like a mountain biking weekend. And I didn't have a bike. Well, I had an old called Butler Carrera, but it was shy. So I was like, well, I'm not missing out on a lads weekend. Come on. So I bought myself on finance a cube acid for like 700 quid. Went to Dalby Forest. I think Saturday we all rode and kind of like got away with it. Got steaming on the Saturday night. I jumped off. So it was like this like a bungalow kind of apartment type thing. The big umbrellas that you put on like tables, the big like
yeah
I jumped off the roof with one of those.
Oh my god.
I was like Mary Poppins or something. See if it'd like just carry me gently down. It splattered. But yeah, anyway, and the next day we were just going down this hill, and I don't know why I went so fast. I'd just been an idiot. And couldn't stop, couldn't make the corner, just crashed straight into this tree, snapped my forks clean in half, like literally in sanctions, just snapped in half. And I'm like, shit. That's the end of that then.
That would put most people off, I would think. At that point, they'll go, yeah, maybe this isn't for me.
Yeah, and I was like, shit, I need some new forks, man. So yeah, when I got the new forks, then I started did a bit of XC and stuff, and then found out about this place in Market Raisin, which is from my hometown. It's maybe like a half hour away, and it's literally like 20-second hill, like downs. So me and my boyfriend at the time, we went over there and kind of like met a few of the guys there, and then they were like, oh, come and do like just a little mates race. So I ended up doing that. And I was only a couple of seconds behind a girl called Jenny Wilson, who at the time was doing nationals. And I was like, oh, I'm a couple of seconds behind her. I can't be that shit. And then, I must look such a state as well. I mean, I remember having these bright green Fox shorts, like a luminous green, like baggy as hell. I didn't have knee pads on. I had shin pads, but no knees. Big DC, like proper skater boy trainers, luminous green helmet, no goggles. I think I just had sunglasses on. Must look like a right gomper. But yeah, so at the end of that, I didn't do too badly in that. And then from there, just kind of went on to the lads from Harrow Hill took me to like kind of mates races over in Sheffield, over in Greno where Steve lives. And just kind of went from there really. Just kind of did like small level races, mates races, all that kind of stuff. Then did like a few like Pierce rounds, which are kind of next level up, and then went on to nationals. Picked up a few sponsors kind of early on, and then just kind of snowball from there. So yeah, it's cool.
Happy days, mate. Happy days. Were there any kind of key points, when you kind of started racing a bit more seriously, and so when you started rocking up at nationals, were there any kind of key takeaways that you were kind of learning about, like you rock up and you do a race and, maybe you crash out, maybe you get down, whatever. But was there a pivotal point where you just thought, yeah, this is the direction I want to go. This is it.
I think once I started picking up big sponsors, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to like actually start not trying, because I always try, like I've tried my heart out, but in the same respect, weekend racing were just a bit of a party weekend for me as well. So I'd always go to the pub with the lads on the Saturday night. We'd always have a few too many beers. I was always like the last one to bed. And be a bit of a state in the morning, but still kind of get away with a few decent results. And then, like I say, I picked up a few decent sponsors, and I was like, oh, I can't be a liability anymore. Which was good for me, because it kind of like stopped me getting pissed on the other side. Like, but yeah, I mean, that was literally like maybe 2-3 years ago. Maybe 2 years actually, and that's when the good results started happening. Really, coincidence?
Imagine that. Right, you're right, kind of wide-eyed and ready to go, and you start smashing it. So that's awesome, mate. So one thing that I'm really interested in as an athlete myself is that, and we spoke a bit about this the other day, is that kind of getting yourself to the start line, and like when you when you go through, I guess you got a warm-up routine. Do you do like a warm-up on the bike, get your legs spinning and stuff like that?
Yeah,
actually, talk us through what your warm-up routine is. That'd be quite interesting as a downhill racer.
So when you're in the pits at the bottom of the hill, I try and keep myself busy. I'm not very good at just sitting around, and I can't relax for one ever. So I'll probably do some stuff with like a TheraBand thing. I'll do some shoulder dislocators. I'll do some rows, some squats, just do some mobility work, just not to time me out, but just to keep me kind of ticking over, keep the body fresh. And then when I get to the top of the hill, usually kind of, it depends how long you're going to wait. Sometimes you end up there 5-10 minutes, so in which case it's just a bit of a warm up, few squats, few press ups, get the heart rate up, a bit of a pedal on the bike, and then kind of you're into your cue to go down the hill. But if it's a long wait, say if there's like been a crash, you could be up there for an hour, 2 hours. Remember it? Where were we? Somewhere, South Wales, somewhere, I can't remember where. There was a crash, some poor girl had broke her leg. I think we were up there for like 2-3 hours or something like that. And it's just like, and you've still got to go do that race, but you don't know when, you don't know how to prepare for it. So it's a mind game, really. In that situation, I have a joke and laugh with the girls and the boys up there, but then I do also kind of take myself off to do my own thing, because otherwise you end up getting sucked into what they're doing and their preparation, which isn't always the best for me. So I like my personal thing, like I say, go for a pedal, do a bit of mobilization, do a bit of warm up, whatever it is, get in the queue, and then I do chat to the girls there. I'm obviously really friendly. I'm not like stone cold serious or anything, like kind of taking PSI out of ties and shit.
Yeah. Game face.
What's this bolt do? But like, and again, this is only something I've started doing the last couple of years. I'll try not to watch my competitors go off the start gate. Because if I see them and they get a fucking sick start, they're like shooting down that hill, hit the first corner like a demon, and I'm like, Jesus, that was fast. And I'm like, I don't know if I can do it that quick. And then I'm thinking about that rather than about my own race, Like nothing they do will determine what I've got to do. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Like at the end of the day. So yeah, I try not, unless it's like one. If it's a not so serious race, I'd be like, yeah, go on loose or whatever. But yeah, if it's a serious race, I kind of have my head on a little bit, and then so I roll my sleeves up as well. When you asked me the other day, I was like, what do I do? And I'm like, sleeves are up. But then,
was that something you started doing kind of unconsciously, and you realised you were doing it, or was it just like kind of this is kind of part of the process now?
Yeah, and it's just part of the process, and then. What happened? I don't know why, but my left arm must be skinnier than my right, because the sleeve always rolls down on my left when I'm riding. And I'm like, get back up there, man. It drives me mad. And there's so many pictures of me, one sleeve down, one sleeve up.
Yeah, I just thought that was a fashion thing, no?
Just want to skin my elbows a bit more. That's what it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I do that, and then goggles are on. And another thing I do as well, which probably makes me look a bit like a maniac. Someone told me, I can't remember who it was, told me, like, if you smile, because I do get really nervous, like, I want to win. Obviously, that's why I race. So I do get very nervous, and I'm very passionate about it. So someone told me to smile and it helps get rid of your nerves. So I'm literally on the start going like it's the most unnatural smile in the world. It looks awful. It's like a Wallace and Gromit thing, but
Brilliant.
it does actually help. It just kind of
Yeah.
Okay, right, I'm good. And then I'll just try and kind of regulate my breathing and watch the beeps go. But
Yeah. So do you get a does it count you down like so sorry, do you say you get set off at 30-second intervals?
yeah, it's usually about 30 seconds. So you'll see the first person in front of you go, and
Yeah.
the dude will say, right, in you come, get into the start gate. 30 seconds. Then you see it cut down 15 seconds, and then I think it's 5 seconds. The green light goes on, and it's beep, beep, and every time after that green light, in that 5 seconds, you can go. So it's 3, 2, 1, go. It's go in this space of time. So you do have time to kind of get your feet on the pedals and.
Oh, okay. So are you not held at the start?
No.
You're not held up. Oh, okay. So yeah, it's slightly different for us. So we're set off at minute intervals when we time trial.
Okay, yeah.
And we always go off similar to you guys, like you go off a start ramp normally, don't you? So yeah, you have your bike checked before you go on there and make sure all the positions are all legal. Because there's all sorts of stupid rules around time trialing about bars and spacings and all sorts of weird stuff. And then, so you're in that line of people get your bike checked, then you've got to stand there and wait for a bit. And obviously that's set off at minute interval. So yeah, the dude goes off in front of you and then you kind of go up and roll in, and, there's a couple of commissaires there that are, but you get held up. So, we can get in, clip in and, kind of have a last minute chat, which is was like, let's go fast and let's win. And then that's kind of it. Yeah. And same thing, you get that. It's as simple as that. Let's go win this.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, exactly. Let's not be soft. This is going to hurt. Let's go win. So you get a beep at 10 seconds, and then from five, you get that hand in front of you, and they kind of count it down, and then one, and then you're rolling down the start range. It's kind of game on. So for you though, is that when's that? So you've got like a 5-second window to get out the gate. Are you kind of like, as soon as that green light goes, you're like, I want to go? Or is it kind of like, do you have a little process there where you think, right?
Yeah, if I'm set up, my feet are on the pedals and I'm ready to go, I'll go as soon as it goes green. I'm not banging around.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, if it's weird because some races you'll have a start gate you can lean against, you can get clipped in, you can get ready. Like the one at Fort Bill is perfect, so you can like lean your handlebars against it and all go. But some places just have like a line across the floor, and I'm shit at track stands, so like I get my foot on it, I'm like, oh, I'm not quite ready. Can I hold on to your wolf?
Lean on, take a shoulder, take a shoulder. So when is the point? Like, is there a point in between, like queuing and getting up to that start ramp where it's like, like say you put your goggles on something? Is there like a queue in your routine where you're like, it's game face now? This is it. It's kind of showtime.
It's usually when it depends how many people in front of me, but usually kind of like probably 2 people in front of me. When that person's gone and then there's one more and then it's me, I'm like, right, helmet on, make sure my hair's tied back properly, my hair's not flapping in my goggle strap because that's an awful picture. Goggles on, gloves on if I've got them, sleeves rolled up, breathe. Like I said, like for probably the first 4 years of my racing career, I crashed like pretty much every single race, and like I won't crash in practice that much. And I can only put that down to nerves. So I knew to like get better, I needed to somehow figure my nerve thing out. But yeah, like before I kind of did the whole smiling and the preparation and stuff. And a lot of that, has come from when I was on SBS with that Steve Pete's team. Mm-hmm. When I was on that, we used to do kind of like workshops, I guess, on how like he did it to start with. So he'd have everything set up throughout the day, like clockwork, and then from that, and then we did kind of like we'd go into the woods and we'd do practice runs and then time runs, then like race run, and obviously it's just fake, but it just kind of like gets you into the practice of doing that kind of stuff. And again, it's just experience and kind of getting your head around it and figuring out what the best thing is for you. Like what works for one person ain't necessarily going to work for me. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. It's a very personal thing. It's that's why I kind of love asking that question, because everyone's got their kind of own take of how they go about getting into that zone to go and like smash themselves to pieces, and just get a performance out. It's
their own superstitions and stuff like that. Like just little bits and bobs that you just kind of got to figure out yourself, I guess.
Yeah. And do you think downhill racing is kind of a superstitious thing? Do you think there's like, do you see people's routines of kind of, like tying one shoe before the other and like, putting on one glove or any of that sort of stuff?
A lot of people do. Some people, I think they just crack on and just do what happens. But yeah, I think because you're the only one in control of everything, like especially at a lower level. I think like obviously at a higher level, obviously someone else will probably prepare your goggles or make sure you got the right kit out and stuff like that. But when you're kind of racing by yourself, you've got to do it all yourself. So you do have to have like a bit of a strategic plan on how to get up there, how to do your head thing. And some people listen to music. I did my first World Cup was in Lords a few 3-4 years ago. And I listened to such a heavy metal warm-up like track. There was like 5 songs and they were all like proper like really heavy. So I'm on the turbo like go out the start gate like a fucking loony. And I think I crashed about 6 times on that run.
Oh really?
Atrocious, it was so bad. And then I showed Ben Reed actually, right? I showed him my playlist because he's like really into his metal music. And he's like, fucking hell, Scal, no wonder you crashed, mate.
Yeah. It's a really fine line, isn't it, between getting kind of amped and psyched to going way over the top. And for us riding a time trial, it's very we're looking for a very flat line, kind of, holding a power. It's very prescriptive, so if you go out and get a bit spicy early on, you're going to suffer for that. Right. You've got a good idea of what the number is you're going to hold. And, obviously everyone feels amazing at the start of the race. And you think, oh God, I'm on one today. And, again, it comes with experience. And then, like you get halfway around and just like, oh my God, I'm dying. This is horrific. And it's nothing worse than being on a tandem when the guy you're on there with dies a death because, you're pushing the weight of 2 people. It's absolutely horrible. So for the first kind of, I'd say 2 years of mine and Adam's career, he hated me, I think, because I was always dying a death and rubbish. Where now it's kind of, now we have our good days and we have our bad days each. So it's not too bad. But yeah, the joys of having 2 people on a bike. Yeah. So
if like one of you does have a shit day, let's say if Adam had a shit day, would you at any point be like, come the fuck on now, mate? Like do you word with him or?
You know what? It's not really needed. I'd just like to point out Adam very rarely has a shit day as well. It's generally me. But it's it's a funny thing because it's not really needed because you're in a race together. And obviously you don't want to be the one that's the weakest performer because it feels like it really feels like you've let the other person down. So it's a real funny one. When you come off and if you've had a bad one, and it doesn't happen that often to be fair, but if you've had an absolute shocker, it's the other person knows how gutted you are. It's like that guy's trying 110, like he's absolutely hurting to try and get those numbers out, and make it happen for you. But sometimes it's yourself, but it's not meant to be. It just doesn't. It doesn't. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't click on that day, and it doesn't work. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, you feel bad enough, especially in the way we race. There's a load of support, there's coaches and staff all around us. You feel dog shit, because you've let everyone down, and you've let yourself down because there's been a couple of races lately, a couple of big races at Worlds where we've gone into absolute pinging, and I've either got sick or I just haven't been well, and the numbers just miles off what you're doing in training. It's devastating. You go there thinking you're in a chance of winning another world title, and you barely get on the podium, and you think, Jesus, what happened there? It's like it wasn't meant to be like that. But it's just you know, that's racing, isn't it? Sometimes it goes fantastic and goes your way, and sometimes it goes drastically the wrong way that you don't want it to go.
It does.
So yeah. So on that note, like, what's the value in racing for you? Like, why do you get up and go back? Because, you know, we're talking downhill racing. It's ferocious. It's super fast. There's very, very little margin for error, you know, and it's very challenging terrain. With a very real outcome, you're gonna mess yourself up pretty bad. You know, if it doesn't go how it should go, you know, and you go veering off course, or you get a turn wrong, you can properly wipe yourself out.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'll note this now. So Becci's got this absolutely incredible picture from Fort William, which since I've known you, I've probably seen you post 3 or 4 times. I know you're super proud of it, but it's just to give some clarity on that picture, actually, mate. Is that rider that's in front of you? I take it you were catching her. So was that your kind of 30-second marker? And so you were catching her. And do you think that could have been part of the reason why you crashed? Because all of a sudden she comes into your line and you're trying to, like, I'm just trying to make excuses for you here, mate. But but yeah, so do you find yourself, like, because in that instance, like, what's the etiquette there? Because I guess that person in front of you, they don't know you're right there.
They should do. So, like, you have whistles along the course. You have, like, blowing whistles once a rider goes past. So if you obviously hear whistles behind you, so there's a rider near you. And also, no disrespect to her, because she's a lovely girl, I know her well. I've also shouted rider for about 2 minutes before that.
Okay, yeah.
She knew. I think she knew I was there. Anyway, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But
so
that section where I crashed and my head's kind of buried in the rock, it is very gnarly section. So it's like just lots of freaking rocks everywhere. And if you don't, like, I was hitting that as fast as I could, and you kind of skip over them. So if you don't hit them fast, you kind of seesaw a bit. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I did. I couldn't hit it as fast as I wanted to because she was in front of me. Kind of hit the first hole and then just, like, went straight over and winded myself. Mike went fecking miles. I'm like, that's the end of that one.
I mean, we'll put this photo up afterwards, so for those of you who haven't seen it, you can have a look at it. But it actually looks in the picture like you're not even wearing a helmet, because your hair's kind of come over the back, and you just think, oh my god. But you know,
I'm wearing a helmet. I was like, I've got a helmet on. It's just in the rocks.
But yeah, it's impressive that you absolutely walked away from that. You know, it's
straight to the bar.
Straight to the bar. This is what. See, I've done my research on you, and a few of the lads that I've spoken to, including Petey and Tom Baker and a few of the boys that know you well, and they're saying you're always good to you're always good for a drink, and you're always good to go one further than most of the lads. So never one to back down. Never one to back down. But anyway, sorry. Anyway, back to my original point. Like, yeah. So what is the value in that for you? Because, you know, like I said, you can probably mess yourself up, mate. And I've seen you crash, and you're bloody good at it. You do it often. So why do you keep going back?
I don't like to give up on anything. Like, I'm not a quitter. If I make a point, actually, which is fucking ridiculous, makes no viable sense whatsoever. If I crash, so when I crashed on the road bike the other week, Monday, Tuesday, what it was, I made a point that night to train. Even though I had, like, no skin left and I'm sore as hell, I made a point to train just to kind of prove to myself that I am strong enough for it. Do you know what I mean? And that I'm not.
Yeah.
Even though it's stupid, but as, like, in my own head, like, I know I've got that resilience, I've got that mental strength to be able to just crack on and do it. And the value for racing for me, like, it sounds a bit bloody selfish, but I love winning. I love doing well at sport. Like, I've always been in sport. I've always been not the best at anything, but always been quite high up in it. Like, I played county netball at school, 800 metre and a high jumper. I'm only 5'7", and I was like jumping against bloody giraffes.
Hey, giraffes have only got little legs. You can't use that as an excuse.
True, very true. do have that very competitive nature. Like, I'm a bugger for it. I'm like, I hate it sometimes because I'm like, just have a chill session, Becky. Like, if I go to CrossFit and train with the lads, like, I'm hell bent on beating them. And I'm ruining myself sometimes because I just want to beat them. And I'm like, just have a chill session, Beck. There's no need to go out and flog yourself every single time you train. But I end up doing it inevitably. So
yeah, it's a really interesting thing, and I think it's a really interesting point. So when I came into cycling, and you just want to like ride as hard as you can all the time, because that's the way you think you're going to get better. And it takes a good amount of time to listen to the people around you going, just recover, just recover. And now the way that I ride, and I don't, you know, like I'm 42 now, and it's kind of, I have to really kind of, you know, I can still ride hard, but I've just got to be mindful that I'm going to pay a price for that at some point. You know, I think that comes, it doesn't matter what age you are, you're always going to have to pay that price. So, you know, it's really important to have the kind of downtime, I think, and relax and stuff like that. So what's your best achievement? What's your favorite podium, best achievement, best result?
So best achievement was last year winning the British Series overall. So that to me was consistency. I won 2 of the races, I think.
How many were in the series?
Pardon?
How many were in the series?
How many races?
Yeah.
6 or 7. I'm really bad.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, so that was probably my biggest achievement, like my highest accolade. But then, like, probably my favourite race, my favourite podium, because the podium, like, no offence to the race organisers for that race, the podium for A Forest, where I won the overall series, so I won the race, and that gave me the overall title. It was pissing it down. It was miserable. It was getting dark. It was just a bit shitty. And the podium was a bit like, there you go, have your bottle of champagne, but don't spray it. Don't spray your champagne. I'm like, what am I going to do with it then? I'm alcoholic. I can't drink it. There was a bit of a downer, to be honest, on it all. And like, everyone had gone home because it was so wet and minging. And there was literally about like 20 people watching you get a British title. And I'm like, this should be better than it is.
Yeah.
Bit of a downer on that one. But
with that race, actually, and I don't know if I've got the race right here, but was that a race where there was a dog that was on the track and some people kind of which was that?
That was British Championship. So you have the overall champion.
Yeah.
And British Championship, which is like a one-off race.
Yeah.
So that was the dog incident.
Oh, right. Okay. Okay. Not good. No dog bothering that day?
Pardon?
No dog bothering that day?
No. Let's take care of the dogs that day.
Probably a good thing, mate. Probably a good thing. I can kind of, I know what you mean with how when you like have a podium and stuff, and there's, you know, it's all of a sudden it's a bit weird, and that, to put that into context, when Adam and I won our first gold medal in Rio, I had to go from the podium, got to spend about 10-15 minutes with our family and friends at the side of the track, and then I had to go to Antidoping, and Adam didn't have to go, so it was only the stoker that they took. But because we'd broken a world record, I had to give a blood sample as well instead of just urine, which means for blood you have to wait for 2 hours from the time of your racing for your kind of blood levels to come back to some sort of normal. So I spent 2. So we didn't finish racing till about probably 7:30, 8 o'clock. So went up to Antidoping, had to wait there for 2 hours. Got the urine sample done, got the blood done. Happy days. My coach was waiting for me, so we rode back to the Olympic Village, and then I went straight to the food hall because I hadn't eaten since like 4 o'clock or something. I was ravenous, and so shoved a load of food, and then rode back to our apartment. And in my head, I was thinking I was going to walk in the door and it was going to be like a party. You know, everyone's going to be like, "Woo, gold medal, gold medal!" But of course, everyone's racing the following day. So I walked in super happy, and it was just black, quiet, everyone in bed asleep, and I was just like, "Wow, this is a bit shit." I kind of missed the kind of, "Woo, yeah, guys, you smashed the medal and stuff," and got up in the morning and Yeah. Talk about an anticlimax, mate. So I know exactly how you feel on that one.
Yeah, it is. And then then I had like a 5-hour drive home with the dog. So I was just a bit
Yeah.
well done, Beck. Good on you, girl.
Absolutely. So what another thing that really interests me is so when we first met, I actually or Adam and I actually gave you your trophy and your titles on stage at the British Cycling Awards, which was really funny because like we said the other day, it's like, you know, that day I think we'd done 2 sessions, so we'd shaken a lot of people's hands and stuff, and it was all getting a bit monotonous, to be honest, standing on stage because someone didn't turn up. So we said we'd do, you know, the session that turned out to be your session, and I can remember, like, you know, you're smiling, because you're getting a photo taken every time, and it's just kind of like, you know, that kind of fake sort of face smile, and I remember, I don't particularly remember your name getting read out or what it was for, but I remember you kind of walking, because I think you're sitting at the front anyway. You're that keen to get on stage and get your award, I think. You're keen-o.
I can't walk in high heels very well. Run.
Well, that was it, because I remember thinking as you came up, and literally you had 3 or 4 steps to get up onto the stage and stuff, and I was just thinking, like, you came up pretty quick, and I remember thinking, wow, this girl's really made an effort. And that's the picture for posting with you, obviously dressed up with you at the British Awards that I told everyone you're going to be on tonight. And I remember reaching out, shaking hands, thinking, God, this girl's made a real effort. Well done, you. And it was like you're going to rip my arm off. And it was just really funny because I was thinking, gosh, she's keen to get this trophy and get off the stage. What the hell's going on there? Yeah. And then, funnily enough, the following day, there's I got tagged in a picture that was on your Instagram saying, Matey Boy here is a fellow Hunt Wheels rider and Petey's product rider. So it's just like, oh, God. Small world.
And the beers, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wasn't drinking, so I was rubbish anyway. So yeah, but outside of that, so, you know, I've seen, obviously on your Instagram, you know, like, there's no doubt you're fully committed to this lifestyle of downhill racing, and you know, you really do live that life. You know, you listen to the music, you've got the tattoos, you tick all the boxes, mate. It's super impressive. But what I guess what my question is, when the helmet and all the pads and all the baggies come off, and who is Becci? Like, you know, like what do you do? Because obviously the racing is a big part of who you are.
Yeah.
But you know, there's always 2 sides to that coin. So
yeah,
you know, like when you're at home and you're not charged up, listen to like hardcore music and stuff like that. And you know, what's your story? What do you like getting up to?
And like you say, like the ride in life, it is kind of like everything, you know, like 99% of what I do is tailored towards that. Like, I've tried to change my career a little bit more so I can spend more time on the bikes. I've moved over to Wales so I can spend more time on the bike. But in the same respect, it is important to have like that time away from bikes, I think. And again, generally speaking, if I'm not on my bike, I'm training for my bike. So, but the training that I do over at the CrossFit gym, literally, is actually my hometown, over in North Lincolnshire. I'm not bloody all over the place normally. That's got such like a good kind of crew there. So I hang out with those guys quite a bit. Like when I'm not actually training, or just going to the CrossFit gym is kind of like a bit of socializing type thing for me. So I do that, and then just like, I mean, I don't having a bit now, obviously, but like I don't actually drink that much nowadays. Like pre-COVID, very rare that I go out for a night out. But saying that, when I do, I like to go big. I'm not scared of a beer or two. And that, like, I think like any girl, like to a certain degree, you want to get dressed up every now and then. Like, I don't always want to live in bike gear or gym gear. Like, to be honest, like that night for the British Cycling Awards, that is the first time I've dressed up. In fact, that's probably the most I've ever been dressed up. Ever.
I feel so honoured. Like,
and I did enjoy it up until I was a bit too drunk to walk into my heels, and then I had to go back to the hotel and get changed into my jeans and trainers, and then we went off to a pub. But yeah, I do like a bit of downtime, but like a lot of the time it's just kind of doing something with a dog, or like I'll go around to the lad's house for a beer, or we'll go watch a band or something like that. So I don't really do a great deal other than ride, train, and the occasional beer, really.
I know the feeling, mate. It's life of an athlete, isn't it?
It does. It just kind of like, it's all encapsulated, isn't it? It's a nice
yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Can't do it too often.
Yeah. So you mentioned there that you've kind of changed your career a bit. So, like I said at the start, you're a personal trainer. What's going on there, mate?
So yeah, like I've been a personal trainer. I went to Durham Uni. I don't know what year it was. 15, 16 years ago. Did sports science over there. Then I did 2 years at a gym over in Hull. I did my PT qualification there, and then I went on to do my sports massage diploma. So I've been PTing for a good 15, 16 years, and I've worked primarily at that time at a gym over in Leeds. And then last year I set up, and I've been thinking about it for ages, and I wish I'd done it so much sooner, like a online kind of mountain bike training service, I guess. So at the moment it's just a 6-week plan, completely tailored to that person. So if they're an enduro rider, it's tailored towards that. If they're downhill, it's tailored to that. If they're just want to get out and ride with the fellas and be able to stay with them, it's tailored towards that. It's not like a one size fits all program.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just like a bespoke program you churn out for people. Yeah.
So I've been focusing on doing that, and then obviously this COVID business, I've been trying to kind of think. Obviously, like my job over at the gym, we're being furloughed, so it's a privately owned gym, health club. So it's all a bit kind of up in the air on job security and that kind of stuff. So I was just like, I really need to crack on with this just in case we don't have a gym to go back to. And yeah, since then, so I've obviously been pushing my 6-week programming, but then also thinking about doing like online classes for people. And at the moment, I'm just trying to figure out the best platform to do it on, whether it's on like Instagram Live, whether it's Facebook Live, whether it's Zoom classes. So yeah, just trying to kind of figure that out. But I love it. It's so nice, and I'm really lucky with my clients. Actually, I've got no arseholes. Like they're all like really sound people, and it's just a variety of people as well. Like I've got a girl called Leah Rutz, who is I can't remember if she's bloody Swedish or Swiss. I think she's Swiss, but she's like an elite rider, does World Cups and stuff. So I've got like her, and then I've got kind of a load of people in between. And then I've got other people that kind of into like rehab programs, kind of mobility programs. Like I said, just kind of want to get strong, want to feel more confident on the bike. So it's just a big variety of everything. So I don't get bored doing people's programming, which is cool. Spend a lot of time at the computer, which I need to change.
Yeah.
A big thing. But yeah, so it's dog just nearly fell from bed. It's cool. I'm enjoying it. But yeah, just need to kind of crack on and get these online classes going and see how I go with that, really. But yeah, love it.
Awesome. And how would you feel if someone described you as like a real kind of role model for kind of young girls? How would that sit with you?
I'm like, if you see me talk and drink, I swear like a trooper. There's no young girls watching this. No, like, seriously, that is like it really humbles me. Like, I'm like, what? They look up to me? What's up with them? Like, I don't really get it. I think it's like I've never, like me personally, I'm never, which is a bit of a downfall, I'm never satisfied with what I've done. Like, obviously I won the overall last year, but then in my head I'm like thinking, well, did I only win the overall because Rachel and Tani were out injured? Like, so there's always better, which is good in terms of pushing yourself, but then also a bit like, just be happy with what you've done, Beck.
Yeah. It's, again, I think that's a really fine line, because to get the best out of yourself, you're always searching and looking for ways to improve. But it's something that I think a lot of athletes are dreadful at, is actually just stopping and reflecting on, you know, and what they've done and how they've achieved. So yeah, it's interesting. So I got a message from Steve Pete this morning.
Yeah.
And I'd sort of said to him, listen, mate, I'm speaking to Becci tonight, and have you got anything that you know, has kind of stood out for you? Obviously, he's known you for a long time, and he mentioned you riding Petey's drop. So, which, you know, which is impressive. So for those of you who don't know, it's ridiculous. It's a really, really big drop. And Steve himself said he would never ride that on a hardtail. He'd only ever ride off it on a downhill bike. So you've ridden off it on a hardtail.
Yeah, it wasn't a hardtail actually. It was a shit bike. I think. Or was it my Scott? It might be my Scott Voltage. So it wasn't like true. It wasn't a downhill bike. But yeah, don't recommend it. And that was like, so the lads I was with, they'd all done it, and I'm like, I'll be fucked if they're doing it, and I'm not. So I'm like, watch this, guys, I've got this, and just went far too slow off it. And I remember in the air, just thinking like, shit, I'm in the air for a long time. Then landed all right, cased it. So then it kind of booked me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm all right. Bang!
I'm not all right."
Right, and I was just like, one of the lads was like, "You're all right, Beck." I'm like, "Yeah." It is big. It is big.
Yeah.
That was
very
probably 2 years of me starting riding, and I probably won't hit it now. Like,
now you know.
Yeah. I went home, and Mum was like, "What have you done, you stupid girl?"
Yeah.
I'm had to do it too.
Yeah, exactly. They did it. They made me do it, Mum. Hey, super cool, mate. I'll you know, like, I think that's a really good note to wind this up on. But if people want to hook up with you, kind of trainer wise and stuff, want to follow you, want to throw out some handles.
So you can go to either my Instagram, which is obviously just Becci Skelly, or Becci Skelton NTV Training. I've also got it all on Facebook now as well, and a website, but the links are all on Facebook or Instagram, so you can kind of check it all out through there. Send us a message. I'll give you more detail if you need it, and then we could crack on if required.
Smashing. Hey, mate, thanks very much for your time, man. It's been really insightful and lovely to speak to you as always. Take it easy for the rest of lockdown. I hope Wales ease those laws for you sooner rather than later. Super cool, mate. Right, thanks very much. Pleasure. Peace out. We'll speak soon.
Yeah. All right, man.
See ya.
Bye. You haven't told me how I leave this, by the way.